Tonight, the Optus hacker tries to blackmail the mum of a boy fighting cancer as thousands of personal details are leaked. Jurors watch an accused killer's 9 News interview as he goes on trial for his elderly neighbour's murder. A show roller coaster taking passengers again as an injured young woman still clings to life. The opposition's bid to drive your petrol dollar further and what you can do to beat this week's price bomb. Prime Ministers past and present gather alongside world leaders to farewell Shinzo Abe. And thousands of faithful line Geelong's waterfront to see what the cats dragged in.
This is Melbourne's 9 News with Peter Hitchener.
Good evening. The Optus cyber security saga has taken a cruel and sinister turn, with some customers now receiving blackmail demands. The hacker behind the breach has also issued a bizarre apology after thousands of personal records were leaked. And the FBI joined the investigation. Chris O'Keefe has today's developments.
A mother and her sick son preyed upon by hackers.
I got a text message from a supposed hacker asking for the $2,000 cash because Optus hadn't made their ransom.
Belinda's 5-year-old has cancer and now she's being blackmailed after her personal information was dumped online thanks to a major Optus data breach.
To be honest, it's just not what we need.
This was the text message that hit her mobile. Hello. Optus has left security measures allowing us to access the personal information of their customers. Optus has since not responded to our demand of paying the $1 million US ransom. Your information will be sold and used for fraudulent activity within 2 days or until a payment of 2,000 Australian dollars is made, with the hackers then providing a Commonwealth bank account to transfer the money.
I guess they're just trying to hopefully pressure people into paying the $2,000.
She was one of 10,000 Australians who have had their personal details uploaded online and put up for sale. The hacker threatened to release more unless Optus pays a $1 million US ransom.
It is a very serious matter which I know is worrying millions of Australians today.
The hackers have boasted they have 10.2 million records, with key identity documents, passports and driver's licences. Medicare cards have also been leaked, along with private details of staff at the Department of Defence and the Office of the Prime Minister and Cabinet.
The Australian Federal Police is taking this very seriously, with a large number of officers involved, working with other federal government agencies and state and territory police, and with the FBI in the United States.
Optus has steadfastly refused to pay the ransom, but today there were more games from the hackers, this time offering an apology to Australia. The hacker claiming to have got cold feet, too many eyes. We will not sell data to anyone. We can't if we even want to. Personally deleted data from Drive, only copy. Very sorry to you. Deepest apology to Optus for this. Ransom not paid, but we don't care anymore. Was mistake to scrape and publish data in first place.
The reality is we can't be sure, and so we have to err on the side of caution. And the reality is they may have sold the data already as well.
Chris O'Keefe, 9 News.
Let's go to Madeline Slattery now with breaking news on the Optus data breach.
Yeah, well, Pete, some Victorians caught up in this Optus hack might be concerned about their driver's licence details, but we have just learned that those people affected are able to apply for a new driver's licence through VicRoads. In the past 10 minutes or so, the Victorian government has announced that those affected customers will be able to get a free licence if they're caught up in the hack. We have just heard this in the past 10 minutes, but the Victorian government does expect Optus to foot the bill for that. So just repeating, any Victorians who might be fearful about their licence information caught up in all of this are able to apply for a new driver's licence free of charge through VicRoads, and of course that'll affect thousands of them, Pete.
OK, thank you, Maddie. A handyman accused of murdering his elderly neighbour told 9 News days after her death that he hoped the killer would be found. The interview was played on day 1 of his Supreme Court trial, which prosecutors say is evidence he lied to detectives. Adam Hegarty reports.
Stuart Anderson, murder accused, casting a vastly different figure to 2019. that of caring neighbour.
I really hope to God that the cops catch the son of a bitch. Like, I really do, because she didn't deserve this.
But police say it was Anderson who killed 77-year-old Vicky Ramadan, struck 12 times in the head with a blunt object in her Sydenham home. Anderson told 9 News he found her body. That interview played in court as evidence against him.
I knocked on the door and noticed that she wasn't home, and went to go walk out and noticed that her back gate was open, which I thought was a bit strange.
The jury told that was a lie. From the prosecution, it's all essentially a sham, a charade. The court heard Anderson met Miss Ramadan in March 2019, approaching him to work on her fence. On March 23, they were heard arguing, a neighbour claiming Anderson said, "F you, fix it yourself." Police believe she was killed between then and the 27th. April 6 is when Anderson called police, but the court was told he changed his story, admitting he broke in to retrieve tools and then found her dead, saying he'd freaked out. He didn't own up to that break-in, his defence lawyer said. Plainly, he should have. There is also DNA evidence from underneath the victim's fingernails, but the prosecution does admit its case is circumstantial. No one saw Miss Ramadan being attacked. Rather, this taxi driver gave evidence that she'd accused Anderson of stealing, something he denied before heaping praise in tribute.
She seemed like a very, very, very lovely lady, mate. Like, she didn't deserve this at all.
Adam Hegarty, 9 News.
The roller coaster that struck and critically injured a young woman at the Melbourne Royal Show has reopened. Maggie Rayworth joins me. Maggie, the decision was made following a safety investigation.
Pete, WorkSafe has completed its inspection and the Rebel coaster is again in operation. Now, prior to today, the roller coaster was closed after it struck 26-year-old Shyla Rodden on Sunday evening. Now, 9 News has obtained video footage of the moment Shyla was hit by the roller coaster, but we've chosen not to run that because it's simply far too graphic. The video shows Shyla standing beside the tracks before she leaps out in front of the roller coaster and is dragged upwards along the track. Now, the CEO of the show has spoken out again today, saying all those who witnessed that horrific incident will be supported.
It's been totally devastating, and our hearts go out to the young woman that was involved in that tragic accident, and her family and friends and loved ones. Those that were on the scene, innocent bystanders at the time, you know, we're offering counselling to those.
Pete, tonight Shyla remains in a critical condition at the Royal Melbourne Hospital. Shyla's family has spoken to 9 News again today, and Shyla's sister tells me they're still doing all they can to remain by her side.
Maggie Rayworth with the latest there. Petrol prices and green energy were the weapons of choice in today's pre-state election battleground. Both sides say their promises will ease the cost of living for Victorian households. Heidi Murphy with the details.
This 90s servo attendant is now chasing a much bigger job and making a pitch for the hip pocket vote.
We need to do more to give consumers the best chance to get the lowest petrol prices.
The plan to buy an app from Interstate and introduce rules to force retailers to report every price change immediately.
It's not like some private apps that can sometimes direct people to higher petrol pricing. The New South Wales Fuel Check app will direct people to what is the lowest petrol pricing.
Petrol price reporting is mandatory in most other states. From 2001 in WA, Queensland started in 2018, New South Wales launched its app in 2017, Tasmania bought in 3 years later, South Australia's version started last year.
This is a cost of living saving that has been staring the Andrews government in the face for 6 years. In fact, if the government would have responded the same time when New South Wales would have done this, motorists would have saved about $5,000.
I'll leave announcements made by others to others.
Labor has switched its focus to the electricity supply, announcing plans to create enough storage capacity for renewable energy by 2035 to power the equivalent of half the homes in the state.
That energy storage is critically important. It soaks up that renewable energy and then stores it and allows it to be dispatched, allows it to be used when it's needed.
The storage to include a new big battery in the state's northwest, partial funding for another at Terang. Backing's also been announced for bioenergy farm projects at Gippsland and Barwon and a renewable hydrogen project at Wollert.
These are all part of our $1.6 billion investment.
Heidi Murphy, 9 News.
A state funeral is underway for Japan's former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who was assassinated in July. He's being praised by international guests, including our PM and former leaders, but as Damien Ryan reports, many are unhappy about the star-studded farewell.
A funeral for a friend and a prime ministerial entourage rarely seen before. Albanese and three of his predecessors, Howard, Abbott and Turnbull, in Tokyo to pay tribute to a Japanese leader they all knew well. As Japan's longest-serving Prime Minister, Shinzo Abe was well connected. A star-studded list behind mass for a state funeral with representatives from 217 countries. A modern-day leader, he was farewelled with ancient tradition. Abe's ashes centre stage before the indoor hall was transformed into a cinema to see the different sides of a statesman, man of the people, piano player. Shinzo Abe's assassination in July by a man with a homemade gun outraged the world. Today, his state funeral sparked protests on Tokyo streets. Costing $17 million to stage, more than 60% of the population were against it, as the country battles inflation for the first time in decades. Back inside, Australia's delegation of Prime Ministers joined with the congregation to lay flowers in honour of a leader who brought stability and security to a nation he sometimes struggled to win over. Damien Ryan, 9 News.
The US Vice President has lavished praise on the Prime Minister for lifting Australia's ambition on combating climate change at a meeting in Tokyo. Parliament continued in Anthony Albanese's absence, with Labor pledging to deliver its National Anti-Corruption Commission. Here's Chris Uhlmann.
A meeting of allies and of minds.
You have been particularly, I say with full compliment, ambitious. I say that with admiration, with your climate goals.
As the American Vice President and the Australian Prime Minister exchange compliments on their emissions reduction plans.
Absolutely critical that the world act.
But with a more aggressive China casting a shadow over the region, every meeting of allies has one sharp focus, with the United States.
Peace and security in the Indo-Pacific.
We live in uncertain times. There is strategic competition. It's something we're very conscious of.
And Japan.
We share such common interests, in particular for a free and open Indo-Pacific.
Parliament is sitting in the absence of the Prime Minister, and today Labor pledged $262 million over 4 years to deliver its National Anti-Corruption Commission.
We'll investigate serious or systemic corrupt conduct across the entire federal public sector.
But its ability to hold public hearings is narrow.
It's in exceptional circumstances and where it is in the public interest to do so.
The early reviews are mixed.
Why is the government setting the bar this high instead of whenever it's in the public interest, and what are exceptional circumstances?
It seems to broadly tick the boxes. I haven't seen the detail. The devil's always there.
The detail will be revealed tomorrow when the legislation establishing the commission is tabled in Parliament. Chris Uhlmann, 9 News.
Chris Fagan has recruited a legal team after issuing a statement further denying claims of racism against him during his time at Hawthorn. Eliza Rugg is following this story. Eliza, the stood-down Lions coach is maintaining his innocence.
Yes, Pete, Chris Fagan has officially lawyered up. He's hired a high-powered legal team to fight those serious accusations made by former Hawks players. He has released a new statement today saying, in part, "I deny categorically the allegations of wrongdoing by me in relation to First Nations players at the Hawthorn Football Club, and that I intend to defend myself. I also confirm my intention to participate fully in any investigative process, provided that it is independent, fair and impartial, and respects my right to be heard." The AFL is still working on assembling its 4-person independent panel. The Coaches Association wants either a former coach or senior officials put on the panel to provide context about conversations between players and coaches. Pete.
Eliza Rugg. The Cats Premiership party keeps rolling on with an estimated 25,000 fans swarming Geelong streets and the waterfront for a victory parade. The cavalcade was a chance for supporters to celebrate their hometown heroes. Emily Rice was there.
The Geelong waterfront was awash with white and navy blue as Cats fans clamoured in their thousands to laud their hometown footy heroes. 2022 AFL Premiership coach Chris Scott urging young supporters to cherish the winning feeling.
This is for you. You'll remember this for the rest of your life.
As the oldest player to win the Norm Smith medal, 33-year-old Isaac Smith was quick to set the record straight on the value of experience.
Too old, too slow, too good, I think the motto is. So
some players say their memories of the post-victory celebrations are already becoming a little hazy.
I think so. I've been told they had a great time over the last few days.
Earlier, the Cats cavalcade slowly made its way through the main streets of Geelong to the now familiar sounds of the team's song.
Oh, they're so cute.
To have everyone here today, it's a really special moment for all. It's awesome. They've been behind us not only all of this year, but the last few years, especially during COVID and that, so it's great to have everyone back.
The captain, clearly a crowd favourite.
Joel Selwood, please do not retire. You're amazing. You definitely got one more year left in you. Oh, Joel. Sorry, everyone else. But yes, you're the best, Joel.
For those supporters who couldn't get to the G on Saturday to see the game live, this is the next best thing.
Emily Rice, 9 News.
Now with a look ahead to sport, Clint Stanaway.
Hi Pete, thanks so much for that tonight. Dunkley's Brisbane move and why he's not troubled by the Fagan investigation. Also tonight, considering his future, Jack Gunston. The veteran Hawk has a big decision to make.
If I stay, I'll be grateful, and if I leave, I'm so grateful for the Hawthorn Footy Club.
Plus, another twist into Goey's contract stoush. Remember me, the young Socceroo lining up for another shot at the World Cup, and the basket brawlers who teamed up on each other. Plus, we're live tonight at Richmond's Best and Fairest for you, Pete.
OK, thank you, Clint. Fury outside federal parliament, grieving women slashing their hair in solidarity with the people of Iran. Details next. An update on the school bus crash that injured 27 people near Bacchus Marsh. A doorbell camera captures gunmen spraying a suburban home with bullets. And Charles makes his choice, where you're likely to see the King's new monogram.